y'all make enough money off of me.
Rihanna was like, I just wanted to be her.
So my parents were like, be realistic. Like, you need to work. This can be a hobby.
Tyler and Rihanna just took a crazy turn. And trust me, this isn't just about music. It's about power, image, and who really gets to run the global pop game. Because Tyler's finally speaking out in ways that sound like shade, calling out how Rihanna's shadow might be holding her career back. And how fans are now convinced we're really seeing the tension between the two. Oh, make me sweat, make me holler, make me lose my breath with the drama. But before we get too deep, let me set the stage because what we're about to dive into, it's not just about Tyler versus Rihanna. It's about an entire industry playing chess with these two women's careers. And we about 4 or 5 seconds from Wild. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you've been paying attention, Tyler came into the spotlight like a storm after her track Water went viral on TikTok in 2023. Water, that record didn't just chart, it cracked the Billboard Hot 100, earned her a Grammy for Best African Music Performance. Overnight, she became South Africa's global pop princess. But here's where things get messy. Fans immediately clocked teased and started to compare her to Rihanna. The style, the swag, even her hair. Pics like this one had people clowning Tyler for looking like she was cosplaying Rihanna's old looks. And y'all know how savage the internet can get. And folks didn't hold back, calling her a copycat, an industry plant, even accusing her team of using Rihanna's playbook bar for bar, word for word. But Tyler didn't just sit back and laugh it off early on. She said it straight. Rihanna is Rihanna. It's a compliment, but at the same time, I'm my own artist. I'm Tyler, and I know as people get to know me and my music, they will see me as just Tyler. Now that might sound polite, but if you read between the lines, she's basically saying, stop putting me in Rihanna's shadow. I'm tired of y'all acting like I don't have my own identity. And when she doubled down with the post about people secretly recording her conversations, fans took it as her throwing shade at the industry and Rihanna herself for keeping her boxed in as the next Riri. She said, talking to me while secretly recording is so weird. I can see the lens, baby. So here's the thing. Rihanna ain't innocent in this either. Around the same time, Rai posted one of her cryptic quotes on Instagram, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," and fans instantly connected the dots that she must have been warning Tyler to stay in her lane, or was she just laughing off the idea that anyone could replace her? I mean, y'all, she could have been talking about anything and anybody, but it got deeper because when you start to look at the way that Epic Records is marketing Tyler and the way the industry has moved in the past, it's not hard to wonder if Rihanna's jealousy or at least her refusal to co-sign might actually be blocking Tyler's growth. But let's really talk about it. From the viral rise of Water to the Rihanna copycat claims to the subtle shade and the industry sabotage whispers, this story has it all. And by the end, you're going to see why people are convinced that Rihanna is low-key trying to make sure that Tyler never reaches her full potential. But when Tyler dropped Water in 2023, nobody expected it to take over the globe like it did. The track blended out piano and R&B and Afro beats, and that mix just hit different. But what really pushed it into viral territory wasn't just the music, it was the performance. Tyler and her choreographer posted that TikTok where she's sliding across the floor, pouring water on herself, and hitting up a Cardi-inspired dance that pop. Within weeks, the challenge was everywhere, and Tyler went from local Southern African star to an international name over. The song went on to crack the Billboard Hot 100's top 10, picking at number 7 in January 2024. And Tyler even took home the first ever Grammy Award for Best African Music Performance. And just like that, she became a face of African pop on the global stage. But success this quick always comes with some side eyes. And that's when the Rihanna comparisons started flooding in. Not only because Tyler was young and edgy and rocking high fashion fits, but because people said her entire rollout felt familiar. The swag, the sultry red carpet looks, the messy hair flips. Fans were quick to point out that Rihanna had done it all first. One viral post on X joked, "What did a good girl gone wrong is going on here? Now she's in a new Rihanna era." I'm sorry, but if I was Rihanna, I would genuinely be annoyed and taken aback. Tyler needs to find her own identity immediately. But honestly, y'all can see why people said that Rihanna built her image as this cool Caribbean girl from Barbados with the crossover potential. And Tyla, the cool girl from South Africa, doing the same thing. Even the industry setup feels copy-paste because Rihanna had Jay-Z and Def Jam backing her. And Tyler has Epic Records pouring millions into viral marketing campaigns to make sure she's the one. But let's not forget the label politics, because insiders claim that Epic has been flooding TikTok and Twitter with paid campaigns since 2022, trying to make sure that Tyler's songs trended before she was even a household name. Her single, Been Thinking, mysteriously popped up on timelines everywhere despite her being unknown at the time, and that same machine rolled out water and it worked. People who never searched her name were still being pushed her content, and that's why critics started calling her an industry plant. But here's where it gets really interesting, because normally being compared to Rihanna is a blessing. It puts you in an elite company, but for Tyler, it's starting to feel like a little bit of a curse. She's admitted herself that she looked up to Rihanna because she didn't think non-American girls could make it big. In an Interview magazine feature, she said, "I do remember loving the story of Rihanna because she came from outside of America. It made me feel like my dream was achievable because, like you said, it's not something that happens every day for us." Notice the twist. While she's flattered, Tyler also wants out of Rihanna's shadow, she told Cosmopolitan. "But at the same time, I'm my own artist. I'm Tyla. Then I know as people get to know me and my music, they will see me as just Tyler." So that's basically her saying, stop calling me the new Rihanna. I'm tired of it. But here's the catch. Whether she likes it or not, her career path is almost identical to Rihanna's early grind. But some folks think that it's not a coincidence. It's by design because look at how Tyler is being styled at fashion events. She hit the Met Gala 2024 in a custom Baleine sand dress that literally stopped traffic. Then she switched it up at the MTV MAs with the vintage Roberto Cavalli. Both looks had the same rebellious yet sexy energy that Rihanna used to dominate Rick Arbitz with. So when Anna Wintour personally picked Tyler to be on the 2025 Met Gala host committee, the narrative wrote itself. Rihanna 2.0 is here. But here's the problem. Being labeled the next Rihanna comes with some baggage. Because if Rihanna feels like Tyler's creeping in her lane, things could get icy real quick. And trust me, Rihanna's not known for being quiet when it comes to protecting her legacy. And that's where the jealousy whisper started. Did Rihanna see Tyla as a threat? Was she annoyed at the comparisons? Fans think that Rihanna's cryptic post about no weapon formed against me shall prosper was her subtle way of letting Tyler and the whole industry know that she's untouchable. But before we jump into Rihanna's possible shade, we need to really understand why the industry keeps pushing this narrative and how Tyler's entire come-up feels manufactured to fit Rihanna's exact blueprint. Now, I ain't going to lie, some of Tyler's looks have been given. Come Mr. DJ, come to replay and SOS. Please somebody help me. Yeah, it's given both of those. But this is where things get really spicy because the Rihanna comparison stopped being just flattering and turned into a full-on battleground. Now, Rihanna has been in this game long enough to know when someone's being positioned as her replacement. She's seen it all before. Labels hyping up the new Rihanna. Bloggers claiming some new face is the future of pop. But this time it feels personal. Remember that cryptic post Rihanna dropped, right? That no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I laugh in the face of those who think otherwise. Well, fans instantly connected the dots. To them, this wasn't just a random Bible verse. It was a warning shot, a way of telling the world, and maybe Tyler directly, that she's unshakable and no copycat can knock her off her throne. One fan wrote, "I don't think Tyler's failure is her fault. It's the people on her team and her fans who ruined her career. They made her think she was more talented than she was. They tried to gaslight us into supporting her because she was brown and could do a little yang-yang around the house." Another person added, "I'm so happy people are starting to realize that Tyler and her team stole her looks, attitude, and everything. Then took it to the USA, and now everyone thinks she's a copycat." Light skin privilege. But here's the kicker. Tyler herself has been playing both sides. On one hand, she praises Rihanna every chance she gets. She told British Vogue, "Coming from somewhere outside the States, I really looked up to her. She made me realize there's another way." On the other hand, her tone has started to shift a little bit. when she said, "Rihanna is Rihanna, but I'm my own artist. People will see me as Tyla." Yeah, it sounded polite, but fans swear they caught her throwing some shade. Like that post where she complained about someone secretly recording her. Now people were reading into it as we're calling out industry folks, maybe even Rihanna's camp for trying to catch her slipping, that whether that's true or not, it fueled the narrative that there's tension brewing behind the scenes. And let's not ignore the other business side. Rihanna's not just an artist anymore. She's a billionaire mogul with Fenty Savage by Fenty and a reputation for being untouchable and a whole mama of three now. So if Tyler's rise threatens that even indirectly, you better believe there will be some quiet pushback. Labels, fashion houses, and media execs know Rihanna runs the table. If she's not feeling Tyler, doors could close real quick. And that's why fans are now speculating that Rihanna's jealousy isn't just emotional, it might be strategic. They point to how Tyler hasn't gotten certain big collabs yet, even though she's out right now. And no Drake feature, no Beyonce co-sign, no Rihanna duet. For an artist who just had a Grammy-winning viral smash, that's unusual. Could Rihanna be making some calls behind the scenes? Stranger things have happened. Because it's not far-fetched when you remember how cutthroat the industry is. A resurfaced 2005 clip of Rihanna on the Tyra Banks show had her joking that Jay-Z told her there are two ways to leave here. Either through the door or the deal signs, or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. There are two ways to leave here. Either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. That story has always haunted fans because it showed just how intense the industry pressures can be. And now with Tyler being seen as Miss Rihanna 2.0, people can't help but wonder if Rihanna's paying that pressure forward, keeping her space by making sure that Tyler never rises too high. But before we get deeper into some Sabotage claims, we got to unpack how Tyler's whole image has been manufactured. From her looks to her sound to the way her label positions her, because once you see the formula, it's hard to unsee that Rihanna blueprint. So now about Tyler's whole come up in these receipts about how manufactured her career really looks. From the jump, Tyler wasn't moving like an independent artist grinding from the bottom. She had a major machine backing her immediately, Epic Records pushing her from day one. And once you trace how they marketed her, it's hard not to notice the blueprint they're following. Because back in 2022, Tyla wasn't exactly mainstream. But somehow her single bin thinking kept popping up on timelines. Fans later realized that Epic was allegedly paying major TikTok and Twitter accounts to push her name in clips, making sure she trended whether people asked for it or not. And that's why it feels inorganic, because by the time Water dropped, the campaign was flawless. Every other For You page had a little booty pop water. Everybody's Explorer feed was full of clips, and Best was hitting that pop bop every time. People said they never even searched Tyler, but it still got recommended to them, and there was flooding the algorithms. But here's the comparison to Rihanna's getting louder. When Rihanna first broke out in 2005, come ponder the replay. Def Jam and Jay-Z branded her as this exotic, fashionable, cool girl next door who could cross over globally. And Tyler's roll out identical. Rihanna had Barbados. Tyler has South Africa. And Rihanna had Melissa Ford, her bestie and creative sidekick. Tyler's got her creative director in day one. Mariana went from Caribbean roots into pop dominance, with all these Tylers being set up to do the same. Start up with Dumpiano Alfred Breeze crossover, then slide fully into pop once the audience is locked in. Even Tyler's fashion trajectory mirrors Rihanna's early rise. She went from playful sexy performances to Met Gala showstoppers, the Belaine Sandress, the Roberto Cavalli vintage, and now Met Gala, and now a Met Gala host committee invite in 2025. That's label branding 101. But here's where it gets controversial. Some critics argue Epic purposefully picked Tyler because of her racial ambiguity. In the US market, non-American pop stars who are light-skinned or ethnically mixed often get marketed as more palatable. Commentators online pointed out that before Tyla, most African women breaking into the US mainstream, like Tim's and Arya Starr, were darker-skinned. Tyler's lighter complexion, Americanized accent, and carefully styled image made her easier to sell to global audiences who aren't used to embracing African women at that scale. I don't know, because Tim's definitely got her Drake remix, I Will Wait For You. Fire, I Will Wait For You. That's my girl. But anyways, Tyler's personality arc feels crafted too. Fans noticed how quickly she shifted from being the playful teenager with cute TikTok dances to a sultry high-fashion superstar almost overnight. And some critics said that she doesn't have one consistent identity. She just morphs into whatever lane her label needs at the time. And if that's the issue, if your brand is built on borrowing, comparisons to Rihanna is not going to go away. But now think about Rihanna watching all this unfold. She knows the game she lived in, and now she's seeing a younger artist being rolled up with her exact formula. That makes jealousy speculations way more believable. And it's not just Tyler copying Rihanna's looks. It's Epic Records trying to recreate Rihanna's career from scratch. 'Cause if you're Rihanna, the last thing you want is somebody being positioned as your replacement. Which brings us back to the shade. If Rihanna feels like her identity is being cloned and Tyler feels trapped under Ariana's shadow, then her tension isn't just personal, it might be structured. So yeah, y'all, this whole Tyler versus Rihanna conversation really blew up once the shade started flying on social media. It began with little things, subtle posts, cryptic captions, and side comments. The fans swore they were aimed at each other, and in today's industry, shade travels faster than music itself. And Tyler's not the type to call people out directly, but her posts often spark conversation. She doubled down in interviews. She just wants to be known in her own lane. With Cosmopolitan, she said, "People want to tie me to something familiar to them." Cool, but at the end of the day, we're doing something no one's done before, and it can't really be compared to anyone. Well, that subtle "we're doing something no one's done" before definitely felt like a little dig. I'm not copying, I'm innovating. Well, meanwhile, Rihanna stayed in character, never saying names, but always knowing how to start a pot. Her Instagram post, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper," wasn't just a random faith quote. For the Navy, Rihanna's fans, that was their queen, telling the world she's untouchable. Now, for Tyler's fans, it was Rihanna low-key admitting that she sees Tyler as a threat. Either way, it sparked a firestorm online with debates about whether Rihanna was shading or just preaching. But the mess really escalated when Cardi B jumped in, and she just couldn't stand the way that Tyler was being dragged online, especially with the Rihanna comparisons. Cardi said, "Every single time I scroll on my TikTok, there's a video of her and people of talking is, and it's like, god dang, what do you want her to effing do? Cut her effing veins? Y'all, that was raw." And it put the spotlight back on how toxic fan wars have gotten. Card's words didn't just defend Tyler. They also called out the industry that's setting her up to fail by forcing her into Rihanna's shadow. And of course, fans did what fans do. Turn the shade into a full-on war. Some accused Tyler of being obsessed with Rihanna's style. Others swore Rihanna was jealous because she hasn't released new music in years. While Tyler is dominating charts and fashion carpets. One comment read, "Tyla's success ain't organic. They manufactured her whole brand to be Rihanna light." Of course, Rihanna is annoyed. Nobody wants to be replaced in their own lifetime. Another said, "I love how people have been trying to claim that Tyla copies Rihanna, and instead of Tyla being bitter about it, she continues to list Rihanna as one of her inspirations. That's how you know she's secure and genuine. But then both sides are throwing some gas on the fire. And suddenly, what started as an innocent comparison turned into a storyline of sabotage and jealousy. But what makes it interesting even more, it's just not the shade, it's what it means for Tyler's future. Shade in the industry isn't just petty, it affects opportunities, and that's money. And if Rihanna doesn't vibe with Tyler, will fashion houses hesitate to book her? Will certain collabs get blocked? That's why fans keep speculating that Rihanna's jealousy isn't just emotional. It could be actively limiting Tyler's growth, and Tyla knows it. That's why she keeps stressing her individuality, because if she doesn't break free from Rihanna's shadow, she risks being remembered as nothing more than a copycat. And that's where it gets dangerous, because when you mix industry politics and personal egos, it stops from being just about shade to become sabotage. And some insiders swear Rihanna might be doing exactly that behind the scenes. But at this point, it's bigger than Tyler and Rihanna. Rihanna said,